Welcome back to the Dragon Den, all my loyal Dragonites. I'm KingofDragons 5000 coming at you with another action figure review. Today I'll be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label, Superman vs. Doomsday. So here we have Superman and Doomsday posed and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figures themselves, let's run through their accessories. The only accessories included in this set are alternate hands for Superman, which do look really good. Unfortunately, we don't get any other accessories, and it's kind of strange we don't get fists for Superman. So with Superman's accessories out of the way, let's run through their details. Superman and Doomsday both look really good here in action figure form, and I really like what McFarlane has done with this set. Superman is sporting that infected Superman body, which looks really good, and Doomsday has some brand new parts to him. Taking a look at Superman first, I think McFarlane has done a good job with this Superman head sculpt. I do like the grimacing expression that Superman has on him, and he does have some battle damage with some blood coming out of his mouth and some bruising. His hair is also ruffled slightly, so there is some distress in this Superman. Finally, taking a look at his body, this is the exact same body that we saw with the infected Superman. It's pretty much become McFarlane's go-to body when it comes to the Man of Steel, and even though it is impressive, I kinda want a bigger S-shield on Superman. There is some painted battle damage on this figure. Now, unfortunately, I would have loved to see some extra sculpting going into this figure. This Superman uses the exact same arms as the infected Superman with several of his hands. And again, there is some painted detail showing some battle damage, but once again, I would have loved to see some sculpted detail. Superman is sporting his traditional red trunks with his yellow belt. A very classic and iconic look for Superman. The sculpt work on his trunks are actually done really nicely. His legs are nice and thick as you would expect out of Superman, but again we get that painted detail with the battle damage. His legs are fine with some panel lining, and we do get his traditional red boots. I don't know if it's a trick of the light or it's just my eyes, but it does appear that there is some wash on his boots. Finally, taking a look at his cape, this is the exact same cape that we saw on the infected Superman figure. It works perfectly here for Superman, especially if he's been going 10 rounds with Doomsday. Speaking of which, let's actually take a look at Doomsday now. McFarlane has done a great job capturing the look of Doomsday. He is very monstrous and very hideous. Piercing red eyes, darkness around his eyes, and all those bone protrusions coming out of his face make for a very imposing figure. And then he does have his ponytail, which is quite accurate to most Doomsday interpretations. Doomsday has a very impressive torso, which looks very good. We do have a lot of his bone protrusions coming out of his shoulders and out of his chest. Unfortunately, the paintwork is kinda sloppy. It's just white paint thrown over here and there. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. But I love all these sharp protrusions coming out of his body. They're all over the place, and do be careful, for some of them are made of hard plastic. And the large spines coming out of his shoulders are done in a softer plastic, so those aren't going to be as dangerous. Unfortunately, Doomsday here did not get any new arms. These are the exact same arms that we saw with the Devastator. You can tell because there is some fabric on his biceps, and it would have been nice if McFarlane actually painted these green just to go along with the rest of his outfit. But the Devastator arms work perfectly for Doomsday, especially with all these bone protrusions coming out. It looks very good here on Doomsday. And despite the fact using the Devastator arms, the spines on Doomsday's forearms are actually brand new sculpt work. A small little nitpick is I kinda wish that McFarlane had painted Doomsday's nails. Doomsday's mid-torso is also shared from the Devastator, but his pelvis piece is actually brand new as well. Coming from the Reign of Doomsday comic series, I do like the green that they went with here on Doomsday. It could be a darker green, but I do feel like the bright green here actually helps make this figure pop even more. His shorts have this really nice texturing, and on his thighs you can see some mechanical parts sculpted on nicely. His legs carry over that really rough texturing on his skin, which looks very good here. And out of his shins we have more bone protrusions poking out, which look very good, and once again they are made of a softer plastic. And finally we get on to Doomsday's boots, which are done in that same green, and they have a lot of nice texturing. Now, unfortunately there is no paint on his boots. It's still a very impressive look here for Doomsday, and McFarlane has done a really good job capturing the look of the character. So despite Superman being somewhat of a lackluster character, Doomsday here is actually really impressive and I love the details in him. But with Superman and Doomsday's details out of the way, let's actually get them compared to our usual suspects. Here we have Superman and Doomsday posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and DC Multiverse Superman. Mattel's WWE Elite Series and Mezco's 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. The Lightning Collection White Ranger and the Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. Here we have Superman posed next to the McFarlane Action Comics Superman. And finally we have Doomsday posed next to the Mattel Signature Collection Doomsday and the Storm Collectibles Injustice Doomsday. So as you can see, Superman is your standard McFarlane figure, but Doomsday is a monster of a figure, which I absolutely love. So getting their comparisons out of the way, let's actually run through their articulation. Starting with Superman, he has a double ball joint in his head, ball sockets in his shoulders, arms go out to the side and do a full 360. He has a bicep swivel and double hinged elbow, ball hinge in the wrist, ball joint in his upper torso and in his lower torso. Legs kick forward, kick back, out to the side, and have a thigh swivel. He has a double bend in his knee, ball hinge in his ankle, and finally a toe hinge. Moving on to Doomsday, he has an articulated jaw, double ball joint in his neck, ball sockets in his shoulders, arms go out to the side and do a full 360. Swivel hinge in his elbow, hinge and swivel at his wrist, ball joints in his upper torso and in his lower torso. His legs kick forward, go back, out to the side, and have a slight thigh swivel. Single bend in his knee and rotation at his calf. He has an ankle hinge and forward facing pin for rocker ankle. Superman has our standard McFarlane articulation, which we've come to expect, and Doomsday has some rather impressive articulation for his size. Overall, they move really nicely, and Doomsday and Superman look great together. So with everything said and done, let's get Superman and Doomsday posed for my final thoughts. The McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Gold Label Superman vs. Doomsday is an impressive set. Even though Superman is the weaker figure of the two, I do feel like he has some redeeming qualities to him. The battle damage head sculpt can be used for other Superman, and I really do like this body, although I feel like McFarlane should really invest in a new Superman body. One thing to really love about this Superman is he has that really iconic bright blue outfit. Doomsday, on the other hand, is a very different beast, and I love the way he came out. Although the paintwork on Doomsday is rather sloppy, with him just slapping white paint here and there on the figure, the sculpt work on him is very impressive. Despite the fact he shares some parts with the Devastator, McFarlane actually went the extra mile and sculpted a lot of brand new pieces for Doomsday. Even though it's not the classic iconic look for Doomsday, this is still a very impressive Doomsday figure in terms of sculpt and somewhat his articulation as well. I kind of feel like this set could have done with some added accessories, some more hands for Superman, and maybe a cape for Doomsday to hold. But overall, I feel like McFarlane has done a really great job with this box set. However, there is one caveat to it. This set is exclusive to Target and has been rather difficult for some people to track down. I actually got lucky and found this set at my local Target, and I didn't have to worry about shopping for them online. If you're a fan of the Death of Superman or just really want a Doomsday in your collection, this is the one and only way to get a Doomsday in McFarlane's Multiverse line. This 2-pack is a must-have for any Superman fan to own in their collection. So with that being said, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and check out all my other McFarlane DC Multiverse videos. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, videos, and recent purchases, and ring that bell so you never miss another video. And until next time, my fellow Dragonites coming from the Dragon Den, I'm KingofDragons 5000 reminding you to redesign, rebuild, and reclaim. I'll see you next time.